Good morning, everybody. All right, we've got everybody logging in right now. I can see that people are joining us. We're going to go ahead and get this thing live on Facebook. Let's see, who do we have on here? Make sure this thing's all working right. And hold on. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go live on Facebook in just a second here. I'm going to hit go live, and it takes just a second.
Cool.
What's happening, Facebook? Hey, it's Michael Hellickson with Club Wealth Coaching and Consulting, and I am super excited today, as if I'm not normally super excited, but I'm extra special excited today, and I'll tell you why, because I've got with me today Coach Misti Bruton, who is arguably one of the fastest growing real estate team leaders in the country. And by the way, I see we got Joanna Parra has already logged in. Joanna, it's good to see you. I've got a bunch of other people logging in, both on the webinar live as well as on Facebook Live. Thank you guys for joining us. So today we're going to be talking about how Coach Misti grew her team from literally by 25 agents in just 45 days. Now, Misti's going to be one of our speakers at Listing Agent Bootcamp, which is coming up on May 8th, 9th, and 10th. It's only a few weeks away, May 8th, 9th, and 10th in Denver, Colorado. If you haven't signed up for that already, you're crazy, first of all. Like, you've got to get signed up. And I'll tell you why. Because on Saturday I checked and we had 21 tickets left. I don't know how many that means we have left today, but I know some people signed up over the weekend. And so believe me, if you have not gotten your ticket yet, you need to. The way to get that is you're going to go to clubwealth.com/LABC. Tori, can you put that in the comments, please? It's clubwealth.com/LABC. So that being said, without any further ado, I want to introduce Coach Misti Bruton. Misti, tell us a little bit about you and kind of your story, you know, as an agent in Club Wealth and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. Yes. First of all, if you have not signed up, you guys do it. Don't wait. Do it. Don't wait till they're sold out. But a little bit about me. So I started out, I'm in Austin, Texas. I live just outside of Austin, Texas. I have been a solo agent, or I had been a solo agent for a very, very long time.
We're talking like 14 years, right?
A long time. I was originally licensed in '94, so that's a lot longer than that. But I've been in and out of the business.
Well, I just want to interject real quick because I think it's very important that people understand that in Austin at the time, you could get a license in grade school. So I want you guys to know that.
That is so true. I must have been like 2 or something without. So, yeah. So I have been I was a solo agent for a lot of years, and I had a lot of success, but I also had a lot of failures. And I rode the real estate roller coaster for a really, really long time, which ended me in and out of the real estate business many times. Probably I'm talking like 4 or 5 times over those 20 whatever years. In 2015, I came back into the business and I knew I needed to do it different. So I went seeking a coach, and thank the Lord I found Club Wealth, because my life has just changed ever since. So in the last 14 months of joining Club Wealth, I am no longer a solo agent. I have 3 teams across the state of Texas, and I am out of production.
Yay! Now, what is the first of all, you and I know what that means, but tell everybody else, what does it mean that you're out of production?
You guys, I don't work with buyers and sellers anymore. My clients are the agents on our team, and I throw all of my value that I have to bring to the table to them, and in return, they bring the value to the clients.
Yeah, I love what you just said right there, and I hope every team leader on the planet is listening to this right now. You just said that your clients are the agents on the team. Unfortunately, there are team leaders out there that don't understand that. There are way too many team leaders out there that think that those agents work for them. And that is not how it works. The reality is, is that we as team leaders work for the agents.
Yes.
Okay, that's a very important connotation. And by the way, I will say that I think that knowledge, and that not just the knowledge, but that mindset and that belief system, I think has a lot to do with why you were able to recruit 25 agents in 45 days. I mean, that's a big deal, right?
It is.
Okay, so very cool. So you signed up, so years ago, not that long ago. What?
14 months.
How many months?
14 months ago, I signed up for Club Wealth.
That's insane. I got to tell you, I remember I was at that golf and country club in Houston. Rick Ranis had hosted an event. He's one of our coaches as well. Shout out to Coach Rick Ranis. And by the way, we got Amy Izzo, Terry LeBlanc, Joni Hollingsworth. I see Jessica Michovic's on. We got all these great people watching today. And I will tell you that you and I met, well, it wasn't the first, I guess I'd take it back. It was the first time we met in person. Misty had driven all the way from Austin to Houston, which is a couple hours each way, right? And to come to this event. And I got to tell you, she was so enthusiastic about being there and seeing me at this event. I was almost scared. I'm almost like, it's like, is she stalking me? Like, how about, like, is she going to sneak out of the bushes and stab me or something? I'm totally joking. No, but I mean, I'm sharing this because this is how you approach life. And it's important, and it has a lot to do with your success, because you approach life with that same level of enthusiasm, everything you do in your life. You know, people always say, however you do one thing is how you do everything, right? And so Misty shows up to this thing. I remember we were in that little room. It was actually a pretty nice room right off the country club entrance there. And she comes in, she's like, I've been watching all your videos. I've been doing this, blah, blah. I'm so excited. I want to sign up for Club Wealth. And I'm like, well, we can't do that here, right? Like, I don't have a mechanism for that. But you're like, look, I will do whatever you tell me. I believe in you. I think you know what you're doing. I'm going to do whatever you tell me. And everybody says that. But Misty freaking did it. And I'm sharing this because, you guys, it's easy to be excited and it's easy to say you're going to do a bunch of stuff. What's hard is actually implementing, especially when times get tough. So talk to us about that, Misty.
You know, I think that was the key to everything that I was missing. I had built a brokerage in my brain. I had built a successful business in my brain for 15 plus years. I knew what I wanted. I could see it, but I explained Club Wealth as like the fertile soil that I finally found that I could plant all those seeds in. I had them in my brain, but I did not know how to implement. So when I found Club Wealth and I had accountability, and I had mentors, and I had people surrounding me that were doing it. The people within Club Wealth are so smart, and they're out there doing it. They're not saying they're doing it, they're doing it. Once I implemented and got myself into that environment, it's been fast and furious ever since. And implementation has been by far the biggest game changer for me.
So I want to talk about some of this, because again, we're talking about how you went from, how you added, not just went from, but how you added 25 people in 45 days to your team. And one of the things that you're touching on that I think is important is Misty wasn't an unintelligent person that came to Club Wealth and all of a sudden became intelligent and started crushing it. You know, she was already intelligent. She was already motivated. She was already a hard worker. She was already all these things. She already was a big thinker. She already had this vision and these goals. What Club Wealth did was help her define those and help her know how to channel those things. Is that accurate?
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
And so I'm sharing this because, you guys, it's like when I go to my barber, right? I'm like, hey, make me look good. And my barber's like, dude, I'm a barber, not a magician, right? Like, he can fix my hair and make my hair look good, but he ain't going to be able to fix the rest of me, right? So you kind of show up with what you got. And Misty showed up with a lot and took that lot of stuff she already showed up with and just channeled it in the right direction and implemented at a high level. And so let's talk specifically about what did you implement. And I know you're going to be going into great detail. You've got a full, PowerPoint presentation and a big class that you're going to be sharing at the event. And again, folks, we're talking about Listing Agent Bootcamp. But Misty, tell us, what specifically did you implement to go from, or to add those 25 people?
Systems were a big part of it, but I'll tell you probably 75 to 80% of the equation for me was mindset, to believing that I am a leader and that I have the skills and the right motivations to be able to lead these people. I was not confident when I came to Club Wealth. And I remember asking my coach and asking you, Michael, what value do I bring to the table? You guys are saying, go higher, you're ready to do this. But I could not wrap my brain around the value that I actually brought to the table. So before I took this journey of hiring and connecting with a lot of buyer's agents that we have on the team now, I had to get myself in the right place. And in the beginning, I think I attracted a lot of the wrong people because I didn't know my own value. And I led with leads, which was a really, really bad choice on my part. But I think, that's a big part of it. I'll go with the mindset being being the probably the most important.
Yeah, the mindset's huge and people underestimate that. But, you had to figure out that number one, you do have and bring value. And I'm actually just looking on our website right now. I was going to pull up your video. There's an actual video about Misti's journey and kind of and how she kind of wrapped her head around that. But you guys, what I really want you to think about is understand as a team leader, you do bring value. And if you can't understand and articulate the value that you bring, first of all, you got to believe it. Then you've got to be able to understand it at a deep level. And I'm sorry, first of all, you've got to understand it. Then you've got to believe it. Then you have to be able to articulate that to the people that you're hoping to recruit to your team. So that's one of the things I want to ask you, Misti, is what specifically, if you had to line it out, what are some of the value pieces? What is the value proposition that you bring to the team?
For me, because I've had all these years in the industry and I've experienced 4 or 5 different brokerages, I had to self-reflect on why those brokerages didn't work out for me in the past. So I thought, okay, I took something away from this brokerage and it was really great, but they were missing this. And so I created an entire puzzle that made sense for me. I think when I look at, my brokerage every day, I look at it and I think, boy, if I would have had that 20 years ago, where would I be today? We've got the mentorship, we've got the leadership, we've got the systems in place. We have the plug and play business where you join us, we bring massive value to you, and you just go out and show buyers and sellers, or list homes or show buyers, whatever it is, whatever role you're playing. It's truly plug and play.
See, and that's the thing is the systems do make it plug and play, but it's and that's, by the way, that's important, right? I hesitate to say this because I'm concerned that too many of the team leaders that are watching today are going to get hung up in, oh, it's got to be perfect before I do anything. Can you address that before we go deep on this?
Oh man, so perfection is the enemy of success. And I think that's why oh wait, that's a Michael Hellickson. Can I coin that?
Well, you know what? First of all, you can absolutely steal that from me because I stole it from Brian Curtis. So you're more than welcome to steal it.
Okay, good. But that was the reality. All those years that I had spent saying, oh, I want to do this someday. And when I get my stuff together, I'll go and I'll do that. But you guys, it probably was the imperfection that has helped me move forward so fast. And it really was just accepting that good is good enough. Good is good enough. Go out there, implement, fail forward fast. I really like the thought that we're all out there failing forward fast because it gives me the freedom to try it. And if it doesn't work, then I quickly make a change.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So you guys, here's the thing. As important as it is to have systems and as important as it is to dial those in and make them as efficient as we possibly can for our teams, et cetera, it is far more important to do something, right? You've got to jump right in and you got to take action now. And it's like a good idea now is better than the best idea later, right? You got to get into action. And so I would say to those of you that want to recruit, and Misti, I would assume that you would agree with this, that just go out and just start doing it. Just start recruiting people to your team. You will define your value proposition as time goes on. You will get better and better at that as time goes on. Your systems will get more and more refined. But trust me when I say this, if you have any systems whatsoever, it's probably light years ahead of the systems that these people that you're recruiting to your team are going to have. Would you agree with that, Misti?
I would totally agree. And once I tapped into that and realized how true it is, that's when the real beauty started. You're not going to learn in your comfort zone. You're not going to get better by staying in that little comfort zone and waiting for things to get perfect. My growth started with that little challenge that Michael Hellickson gave me where he said, hey, Misti, you want to grow your team? How about go and hire 25 agents between now and December? And that was like late October or whatever it was. And I realized I just had to do it. I needed that challenge to just go and do it. My systems were not perfect. They're pretty awesome now. My systems are pretty amazing now, and they're getting better every day. But the reality is, I took a challenge that forced me outside of that comfort zone, and that's where that's where the success of our team has really started.
I'm laughing my head off here because, first of all, that challenge happened on a webinar just like this one, right? We're just having a conversation, we're teaching people stuff, and all of a sudden I'm like, hey, Misty, how bad do you want to recruit? Like, how big do you want to grow? Like, how serious are you about this? And Misty says, oh no, I really want to do this, Michael. I'm serious. I'm all in. I'm going to do this. I said, really? I said, well, how many people do you want to have in your team? It's like, well, I want to have 25 more people on my team. I said, well, when do you want to do that by? She said, well, I don't know. I don't know when I want to accomplish that. I said, all right, well, how about 30 days? And Misty, she kind of takes a step back and she's like, well, I don't know. I guess. I mean, sure, okay. And all of a sudden, she's committed to hiring 25 people in 30 days. She made it. She didn't get it in 20 and 30 days, but she got it in 45. And I'll tell you what, that's better than every single person watching this webinar right now. I can guarantee it. And so congratulations to you. So my next question to you is, Misty, why, having gone through that experience, would you ever show up on another webinar live with me where you know there's a pretty good likelihood that I'm going to ask you, what's your next goal?
You know, I will tell you, the beginning stages of my growth, they were the scariest, but they weren't the hardest. The hardest comes now. And I'll tell you why. It's easy. Well, I found it easier in the beginning stages to kind of get out of that comfort zone. But because I've been walking up that hill for so long, there's some complacency that sets in as you get there. You know, you hit these milestones, and I realize, push out of this comfort zone. So I don't know what my challenge is going to be today, but I can tell you I'm excited because I might need my little tushy kicked so I can get out of that and up to the next level.
I'll tell you what, there aren't a lot of people in the world that I would do this with, but I know you can handle it. And more importantly, I know you thrive on it. So I'm going to ask you, how many people are on your team today?
We have, with the ones that are onboarding, we probably have 30 now.
Got 30. Now, keep in mind, you guys, and Misty, I want to know, how many did you have to recruit to get to that level?
Okay, you guys, that's where I have realized it's a very living and breathing process. So my goal is I have to onboard probably 10 new people to keep the level where I'm at now, because some top grade themselves, some of them we top grade, but we recruit weekly. So I try to bring on a minimum. We have 10 people usually in a group that come in weekly. Out of those, we recruit maybe 4 or 5 that go into onboarding. Not all of them last. And every month we increase our team by, 5 or 6 people. So it's a large, large number of people that I have to be in front of to make sure that my team numbers keep going up. Because what happened originally was I hired all those people out of that challenge, but we went backwards because I thought, I've arrived, I did this, hallelujah, but that's not what it looked like. So I went from having that net 25 to somewhere along the way going back to net 15 and like, wait a second, how did I get here? So now what I realize is we have large numbers that come in. They're not all a good fit. We onboard, a large number of them, half of them stay, and then half of them, once they get through that, they usually stay for a long time. But recruiting is ongoing, nonstop.
So, and I want people to understand that recruiting really is a lifestyle. It has to be. And you have to, when you're a team leader, you have to treat recruiting like you treat lead generation as a solo agent, right? Because that is your new lead generation. It's recruiting. And the reality is, as the market shifts, and it will, right? We don't know when, it could be late this year, it could be next year. Who knows? We could be 5 years from now. Nobody knows. But when the market shifts, if you don't have enough agents on your team to survive that, because what's going to happen is the weak agents, like you said, they're going to weed themselves out. They're going to self-select, right? So they're going to be gone. But what you've got to do is you've got to make sure that you've got enough people on that team, because that lead flow is going to continue to be there, right? Not only will the lead flow be there, but now we're going to be transitioning into an REO and a short sale market, and that dynamic changes. And the good news is that we've got all the people that we need in Club Wealth to be able to teach everybody how to do that and how to capitalize on that at a high level. But here's the bottom line. If you don't treat recruiting as your primary role on the team, you are going to have challenges long-term. You will have turnover. And by the way, you're going to have, there's always going to be those people that are going to just turn over quickly. Then there's going to be that kind of middle group of people that, they're going to, once you get past that early turnover, you have that middle group of people that will be with you fairly long-term. And then you're going to have a couple of people that they've been with you for a long time, and eventually they start thinking, oh, well, I can just go do this on my own. And here's what I will caution you on, and not just for you, Misty, for everybody watching, and I know you already know this, Misty, but when you have those people that think, oh, I'm going to go out and start my own team, wish them luck. Give them a high five, wish them the best, and be sincere about it, right? Because I'll tell you this, more often than not, it's not going to work out the way they thought. More often than not, they think, oh, I just have to write this check, and oh, I just have to do that, and then it's going to be really easy to build my team. Oh, no, it's not. I got news for you. It is a lot of work. True or false?
Oh, very true.
Okay. And so that being said, we have a couple of questions for you. And by the way, those of you that are on the Club Wealth coaching page, it's called Michael Hellickson's Club Wealth Real Estate Coaching and Consulting. You can see us in the feed there. I'm watching that feed to answer your questions. So Mark Chappell wants to know, how many buyer's agents did you have on your team before you started hiring listing agents?
We were probably I probably waited too long, but I was probably at a net 20 on my agents before I started defining listing agents. And part of that was I would probably not coach to do it that way. It was probably me questioning my own value and still learning how to run a successful team. I have been known to buck some of the systems along the way, and my coaches keep me in check. But that was one of them where I needed to do it sooner, but I was probably, to answer your question directly, I probably had 20 agents before I started breaking them into pods of agents where there's a listing agent and then buyer's agent.
I love how you said that you tend to buck the system once in a while when your coaches give you advice. I don't have any, but there's not a single other person in Club Wealth that's like that, that's actually on the call right now, Coach Brittany.
Brittany, I love you.
She's watching this live right now. But perfect example, right? And you know I love you, Brittany. But there are people, and it's funny because we all go through that, right? We all think we have the answers, but that's why we have coaches, right? Because the reality is we don't know what we don't know until we find out that we didn't know it. And so here you've had many coaches, whether it's me or Brian or all of the coaches that you've had throughout Club with Ron, right? As it was, and Brittany's like, shh, Michael, stop it. Like she doesn't want me to rat her out. But here's the reality, you guys. Trust your freaking coaches, all right? We've been where you are. We know how to get past it. And Misty, to her point, said she wouldn't coach you doing it the way she did it. She would tell you that she learned from that experience, got smarter, made the mistakes that you now don't have to make. And so your advice, Misty, Coach Misty, would be what?
Yes. Listen to your coach. I look back at the 14 months that I've been with Club Wealth, and the reality was early on, my coaches told me, do it this way. And I thought, no, I'm a little different. I'm going to do it a little bit different. Guess where I ended up, you guys? After about, I don't know where I would be now if I might have just taken the straight line instead of the big circle that I took, but I took the outlier path, and I ended up right back where my coaches told me I would be, building my team exactly the way I'm building it today. But, I probably wasted 6 months of growth doing it my way because, I don't know, stubborn.
Well, and not that Brittany is a part of that stubborn crowd too. Love you, Brittany. But all of us are. Like, all of us at some level are. It's just, and Nicoletta's like, yeah, I'm one of those too, right? And a lot of us are, especially those of us that have worked really hard and really have learned and taken a few bumps and bruises along the way. We tend to be the more stubborn ones, right? Because we feel like we've learned enough to not have to go down the path again. But the reality is, trust those that have gone before you. So Misty, I would suggest, and I think you would too at this point, that we segregate that listing agent rollout much earlier in the process. And frankly, by the time you get to 20 agents, honestly, you really should have, I would say, at least probably, I'd say at least 2 to 4 listing agents out of those 20. And frankly, a really well built out team will have, in a typical market, we'll have like 16 buyer's agents and 4 listing agents. And that's a very good sustainable team. So Mark's saying thank you for that, and yes, you're it's our pleasure, Mark. We appreciate you being on and watching. Also, we've got another great question from and Tori. I think Tori, I'm assuming you're getting these questions from the Club Wealth Facebook group, and if you could put that link in the comments as well, Tori. I think people that are watching this that are not yet in the group would appreciate having that link. Stephen Marshall asks, how did you transition from being in production to full-time recruiter without losing sight of selling real estate? And this is such an important question.
Thank you for asking that. That is probably the key to everything. And I won't lie, it was hard. It was not so long ago that I reached out to some of my peers and said, are you still in production? Like, what should I be doing? And I quickly realized, number one, I had to get clear on my why. Why am I doing this? It was not to buy or to help buyers and sellers. It never really has been. Real estate has always been a byproduct to something greater. So once I got clear on my why, it was very apparent that what I want to do is I want to lead others to avoid the pitfalls. Once I got clear on that, I realized I'm not serving myself or anybody else by being in production. So I took the plunge, and in beginning of 2018, I left production, and it was not an easy transition, but it was by far the biggest leap of faith that I've taken. And it looked like all of a sudden I was referring those friends and family to agents on my team, and some of them fell through the cracks, and I lost a few deals, and it was not the best scenario on those. But the reality was I had to change my mindset, and I had to look at my team like, if they dropped the ball, what was I not doing for them? I had to trust them if they were going to be on my team. So instead of saying, why did you drop the ball? This was my cousin. Oh my gosh, they bought a house through somebody else. I instead turned and said, how can I help you be the agent that you want to be? So it was difficult, but it was by far the best leap of faith that I've ever taken.
I got to tell you, and I hear this all the time. I have this conversation so often with people where they don't want to give up anything to their team. I just recently had a conversation with a big producer in California. And she may be watching right now. I don't know if she is or not. I hope she is. But I'll tell you that I had this very same conversation with her, where she is, she makes, several hundred, I think she's, 600,000-ish a year as a solo agent essentially, and doesn't even have an admin. And she's working literally like 70, 80 hours a week. And for her, it's all about, but only I am going to deliver this level of customer service to my clients, and nobody else can really do it as well as I can. Well, what would you say to that person, Misty?
I would say that, again, my value proposition, I put all of that into my agents, and I have a level of expectation. I expect, because I bring massive value to them, they in turn take that value and give it back to the buyers and sellers. And I inspect what I expect. So I'm not the one out there doing the work, but I am providing the value in a different way. And I still provide the same level of service in my brokerage. It's coming from another source, not me. It's coming from an agent on the team.
Yep. And you guys, you have to understand, first of all, if they can do it 80% as well as you can, that's a huge victory. It really is. And the other thing is, remember, you guys, I've got it on my wall. We talk about it all the time, right? No success in the world can compensate for failure in the home. I've got to be able to leverage myself, and I've got to be able to empower my team to leverage themselves, so that all of us can have a life, so that we can spend time with our family. And as I take, and by the way, let's come back to the topic title, which is how you grew from 20, by 25 agents in 45 days. Let me tell you something. If you don't understand that, it's not just important for you to have a life, but it's important for your team members to have a life. If you don't truly understand and believe that, embrace that as a value that you stand for in your team, not only will you have a tougher time recruiting, but you will absolutely have a tough time retaining. People will come to you oftentimes because of dollars, because they think they're going to make more money, or they think that it's going to be better than where they are today. but they will always leave you for one of two reasons. Either they're out of culture or the culture is just not what it needs to be, right? So as an example, part of your culture, Misty, on your team is you guys work hard. You don't screw around, right? You have very hardworking agents in your team. If someone comes in that doesn't work hard like the rest of your team, they're going to feel like the guy that shows up in Bermuda shorts to the wedding where everybody else is in tux, right? They're not going to fit in. And because they don't fit in, they're going to self-select. Right. That being said, when a baller comes in and they're from that standpoint, they're a good fit, but your team is just wired differently. Like people are snarky with each other, or they're whatever. They're just not feeling the love. Guess what? They're going to leave your team too. Write this down, everybody. I want everybody to write this down. You have to be able to show that you are professionally competent, and as a team, so you have to do this in your real estate sales side too, right? So for buyers and sellers, you got to be able to show them that you're professionally competent and capable of getting the job done. As a team leader, you have to be able to articulate that you are professionally competent, and you're going to be able to help them by providing systems, tools, technology, support, staffing, everything they need to be successful. You're going to give them the entire environment, including leads, that they need to be successful. But that's not enough. You also have to show, and this is something I know you're very good at, Misty, but I've had to work really hard at this because it's not my nature, but you also have to show that you personally care, right? So I've got to show that I'm professionally competent and I personally care. So when it comes to personally caring, Misty, tell us, and I know you'll be sharing a lot of this at the event, but tell us, what are the things that you're doing to show that you're professionally competent and that you personally care?
Yes, absolutely. So, just the fact that we put in all the work to set up the systems, that we are making our business a plug and play. My value add on how I care is reflecting back on who I was and what I was doing as a solo agent, and, of helping them to avoid the pitfalls. We set with every new agent that joins our team, we have a 1-hour coaching session where we go over their goals, not my goals. We have minimum standards to stay on the team, but we go over their goals. What do you want to achieve? And I set out a 90-day roadmap for them. The only reason they will fail is because they don't work, because they don't wake up and do the actions. But if they wake up every day and join us on our morning huddle and do the daily activities that we've set in place, they are doomed to succeed without a doubt. So, and I care at a very deep level. I have to surround myself with people who watch my business because I often care a little too much. And so I know that it's a strength and it's a weakness. So I just surround myself with better business people who people who make me follow the rules of what's written in the broker agreement. Otherwise, I'm that team leader who's like, well, I know it says this, but I'll give it to you because I like you. It's wrong, I know, but that's just who I am as a person. So I have people in the business that have the whips that keep that part in check.
Well, and so write this down, everybody. You got to be, if you want to be a phenomenal team leader, there are 3 things that I would say, 3 components that every world-class team leader, and there's more than just these 3, but at a minimum, there are 3 components that every single phenomenal world-class team leader have in common. 1, they are firm. 2, they are fair. And 3, and most importantly, they are consistent. You've got to be firm, fair, and consistent. You can't give one person a deal that you don't give the next person. So that is a very big deal. And Misty, you hit the nail on the head. Too often, the agents that are really loving, right? If I'm loving by nature, if I'm like Luigi Capra, a lot of you know Coach Luigi, right? We love Coach Luigi. He's awesome, right? He's a high I. He wants everybody to love him, and he wants to love them, and he's very compassionate. And here's the thing. First of all, that's a great thing. The downside of that as a team leader is that if you're too compassionate, you'll have the tendency to hire projects, right? So you start hiring people that really are just a project that you're going to have to work on all the time, and you end up enabling them instead of empowering them. And there's a big difference between enabling and empowering. And so, Misty, you've had to learn that hard way. And one of the things that sounds like you've done is you've put people around you that that help prevent you from being on the enabling side. Is that right?
Absolutely. I'm very aware of what my strengths and my weaknesses are. So I hire for people who fill in the gaps on those weaknesses. But our onboarding now is set up too to really weed people out. We have a pretty stringent onboarding. And I know now that you can't, I watch their actions. If their words and their actions aren't matching, they get weeded out before they even get implemented or get brought into the team environment. We keep them separate until we know that they have the culture that we're looking for. And, there's probably half of them that fall off during that process, but I've had to set up that onboarding process so that I can weed those people out. Otherwise, they are projects.
So you subtly said something there that I keyed in on. Am I understanding correctly? You keep them separate from the rest of your team until you've determined whether or not they're going to make it or not. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we've tried it all different ways, but they're not on our Zoom calls. They're on their own Zoom calls. They're not interacting on our group meets. They are completely separate. They are quarantined until we have that they can join the rest of the team, because you can't let the viruses get into your culture. They will eat it alive.
Oh my gosh, I love you. You are awesome. That is brilliant. I love it. And I'll be honest, I didn't do that. I never did that before. I love it though. I'm going to steal that. I'm going to test that out with Club Wealth and with the ISAs that we hire and that sort of thing. I think that's brilliant. I really do. Now, some would argue that, but then they don't get to experience your culture, yada, yada, yada. Experiencing our culture and really becoming a full and complete part of our culture, that's kind of a privilege. That's not a right?
We celebrate when they get there. We're celebrating that they get to join us. It's a big deal, and I want to make it a big deal because we have something very special, and it's not something that I take lightly, in which case you have to prove yourself.
Wow, that is an epiphany for me. I got something. That's huge. And Courtney Foster's like, that's awesome. Fist bump. Love it. All right. And by the way, we didn't get to everybody's questions here, but I'll tell you what, I'm sure that Misti will probably come through and answer some of them in the feed. But I will tell you this. Those of you that want to learn more about how Misti went, or how she grew by 25 agents in just 45 days, I want you to make sure that you sign up for and attend Listing Agent Bootcamp. It's coming up May 8th, 9th, and 10th in Denver, Colorado. The link is right there in the feed. If you just go to clubwealth.com, at the top of the page, there's a button. Get signed up. And I'm telling you, it's only a few weeks away, and we are almost out of tickets. So you need to get signed up right away. And ticket prices went up a week or two ago. They're getting ready to go up again. If there are any tickets available by the end of this week, the price will be going up again. So, and that's if there's any tickets available, which I don't know that there will be at this point. So make sure you hurry and get signed up. That being said, now I forgot what I was going to mention.
I'll say, you guys, Listing Agent Bootcamp, get signed up. If you don't have your tickets, no joke. Listing Agent Bootcamp and the Business Strategy Masterminds are two of the biggest catalysts that got me off the ground. It's one thing it's just being surrounded by the amount of success in those rooms. You have no choice but to come home and grow your business fast. Go. It's amazing. I'm so excited. I can't believe it's only a few weeks away.
I tell you what, I spent the last, the last 30 days really diving deep on everybody's PowerPoints. And by the way, for those of you that got me your PowerPoints later, I just want you to know I went through them in the order they came in. So if I'm just now getting back to you on yours, it's because it was late. But that being said, I got to tell you, there's some amazing content as usual. I mean, there's always great content at these events. But beyond the content, it's the people, it's the networking, it's the masterminding, and we go to great lengths. In fact, the reason why, you go to all these other events in the industry and they have one room, everybody goes to the ballroom and that's the room, right? And there's some great events like that and you get to network with people still. But the reason why our events cost about $200,000 more to put on than virtually every other event in the industry is because we have to take over the whole hotel. We have to have all these different breakout rooms. And I'm telling you, the magic is in the breakout rooms. The magic is when you're in tiers 2 and higher, or, and you're in a mastermind session where you're in a room and there's only 25 other people in that room, or 24 technically, other people in that room, and they're all at the level that you're at. So you guys are all going through the same stuff and you get to mastermind how to get beyond that. Let me tell you, that is a game changer, you guys. It is a absolute game changer. And it costs us a lot of money to be able to do it that way, but we do it because we truly believe that it is absolutely 100% necessary, rather than just going and sitting and listening to a talking head the whole time. Not that that content's not great, because it is also. But anyway, long story short, get out to the event, get those tickets purchased. And Misty, parting thoughts before we wrap up for the day. I'm going to give you the last parting thought here.
Absolutely. I would say accept that good is good enough, and get clear on your why. If you haven't started a team and you're thinking that you are ready or you want to start a team, even if it seems far-fetched, just do it. Just take that first step. I tell everybody that I coach, you can go back to being a solo agent if you don't like it, but I promise, have a coach beside you. Don't do it alone. I promise that. So grab a coach. If you don't already have one, get signed up and just take those steps forward. We were built in the fire along the way, so just do it.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you so much, Coach Misty. And I got to tell you, you're an inspiration. Oh, and I do remember the final thing. Oh, I almost forgot. I almost let you off the hook. You knew this was coming. So I want to know, what's your goal in the next 30 days?
We're going to double. Oh, in the next 30 days. Okay.
Oh, so your goal this year is to double.
Yeah, we're going to, double the team in this year. So I would say.
Here's what I really want to know. What are you going to accomplish between now and Listing Agent Bootcamp? Because I'm going to hold you accountable to this.
Oh, what am I going to accomplish? Oh my gosh.
How about this? Everybody that's watching this right now, type in, how many agents do you think that Misty should bring on the team in the next 3 weeks? Type your number in. I want to see what you guys think. How many should she do? So Misty, what are your initial thoughts? What do you think? How many agents are you going to onboard?
10.
10 new agents in the next 30 days, which that's.
I'm not going big because you have to keep in mind, we're at a stage now where it could damage our culture. So I have to be cautious, but 10 is a good number.
I just freaking love, I hope you guys got that. She's like, Kristen and Brittany both were thinking 10 as well. But what's really funny to me is she's like, well, I think I'm just going to do 10, and I'm not going to go big. I'm just going to do 10. And like everybody else is like, 10 agents, that's huge. What do you mean you're not going big? And so Misty's going to go moderate and just bring on an additional 10 agents because she doesn't want to damage the culture and she wants to make sure they're the right fit and all that good stuff.
What's cool though, you guys, now our agents are out there recruiting for our team. So it happens even when I'm not on my A game. This weekend we had an open house, and the Houston team that we have they recruited 3 agents at an open house. So
I love it. That's huge.
Yeah.
Go Houston. I love it. That's David's part of the team. I love that. Great. Good for David. All right. Well, good stuff. Well, so Misty, we'll be sure to hold you accountable for that on stage. I'm sure Brittany will remind me. So Brittany, don't let me forget when I'm on stage at Listing Agent Bootcamp. We're going to do a little follow-up with Coach Misty and make sure she got her 10 agents. So that being said, you guys, thank you so much for watching today. I really love you guys. You know what? It's super awesome. And the 90-day training program, Mark, I know Misty talks about that in the class that she's going to be doing at Listing Agent Bootcamp. So be there for that. But I appreciate you guys. If you guys weren't watching it all the time, if you guys weren't referring people to Club Wealth, which you guys do a lot, and thank you for that. That's what keeps us able to do this. As you know, we don't make a ton of money on Club Wealth. We take a very modest salary and we put everything else back into it. And in order to do that, we need you guys to keep referring people in. So thank you very, very much for that. And to all of you who give so much, including Coach Misty and especially Coach Misty and Coach Brittany and others who do strategy sessions and who do all this stuff to help Club Wealth as a whole. You guys, she's not getting paid to do this webinar today. She's not getting paid to do this class at Listing Agent Bootcamp. Coach Misty's doing this because she found something of value that worked well for her and helped her grow her business, and she wants to give back and help other people have that same experience. So next time you've got a referral for Austin, Texas, give Misty a freaking call. Send it to her team. You're in where? You're in Austin, Houston, and San Antonio? Mm-hmm. Okay, so next time you got Austin, Houston, San Antonio, reach out to Coach Misty. Send her the referral. She'll take great care of them. I promise you. I know her team, and I know they do take great good care of people. So, Misty, thank you so much. And everybody, in wrapping up, remember, inside each one of you, there's a world-class beast just dying to get out. You got to choose to unleash that beast. So Go do something at a world-class level today and show up Listing Agent Bootcamp to see that Misti got her 10 new agents. Take care, everybody.
Thank you guys. Bye.